Preparing the outer casings ready to go off to be polished. As you can see, there's a few deep grooves that need to be polished out, and these will come up on, like chrome. I know you don't believe it at the moment, but wait until you see when it's done. So in preparation, then I'm just going to prise out the exhaust, the camshaft oil seal. I just prise it out with a screwdriver. This is the crankshaft oil seal, and that's held in with a circlip. So I just remove the circlip and then again prise it out with a screwdriver. And then this is the oil pressure relief valve, and so I'm just going to unbolt that from the casing together with the oil feed to the rockers, so that the case is completely empty. Then I'll just give it a quick wash down with some white spirit just to make sure it's all nice for the not too oily and greasy for the polishers, and then that'll be ready to go off to be polished. I'm not going to film taking these bits out because that's pretty straightforward. We will be covering checking and refitting the oil pressure relief valve later on. Okie dokie, here are all the outer casings ready to go off to be polished. So we've got the outer timing cover and the points cover, the outer primary chain case and the various plugs. We've got all the tappet covers, and we've got the outer gearbox casing and the clutch cable cover. So just have a good look now, because I want you to compare these now with what they're going to look like when they come back from being polished, because I honestly don't think you're going to believe the transformation between what they look like now and what they're going to look like when they come back, because I know how brilliant a job the polishers can do. So these are all going to be polished to a high polish. They'll come back looking more like chrome than alloy. And so, ta-da! Here we are, all the parts back from being polished. So I think you can see there's a slight difference from when we took them. So this is what the result you get if you have your outer cases machine polished, where you can have any alloy polished. But the outer cases are generally what you have done, because they're already polished, they're smooth. Like the crankcases and that, they've still got the casting marks on them, they've never been polished. Outer cases polished, and now we've had them polished to a very high finish. And if you remember, I'm trying to think what gouges and that we had, the gouges and cuts and marks we had in these cases, they're all gone, and we're left with, as I say, you might mistake it for chrome, but no, it's all just polished. So that's and then with a bit of Solvol or whatever, Solvol also Sol, alloy cleaner, these will stay shiny for years, unless you take it out in the winter with the road salt, because the road salt will just attack those. They'll attack this straight away and get rid of the shine before you know what's hit you. But yeah, so there we are, all lovely polished. Yeah, great. Just it's the start of things getting better. We've taken everything apart and it's all messy and that, and now this is the first thing to come back ready, clean, ready for assembly. I mean, we're not ready for assembly yet, but this is the first lot back, and then we'll get the engineering stuff back, and the stuff back from being blast cleaned, the cases and so on, and then it's a question of putting all these lovely clean parts back together, which is a joy. We have all the casings ready to go to be vapour blasted or aqua blasted. It's the same thing, just different name. So they've all been completely stripped of all their parts as far as possible, right down. So there's virtually nothing left on them. So you can't leave anything in the casings if you're going to have them vapour blasting. I think about the only thing I've left is this idler gear shaft, and we'll make sure that they don't, obviously they won't be blasting the insides of the casings, only blasting the outside, and then it's all got to be cleaned anyway when it all comes back. Okay, so again, that's what they look like now. So ready to compare what they look like when they come back from being blast cleaned. Okie doke, so here are the engine cases, mainly the crankcases, back from being vapour blasted. And I'm really pleased with the way they've come up. They've almost like they've got a bit of a shine to them, like they've been polished, but they haven't been. Note that all the sort of mating surfaces, he's not blasted those deliberately. Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, so I'm really pleased at how things have come up. They've come up. They've got like a nice shine to them. Because he used quite a fine medium. Now vapour blasting, aqua blasting, they're the same thing. As I understand it, it's basically blasting medium but using water and air, not just air. And the water makes it a much less abrasive, less sort of vicious process. And apparently he used quite a a non-abrasive medium, and they come out really well. They're not, there's no damage. They're really nice. So that's great. What I need to do now is clean them because, in fact, yeah, probably just picking up there in the light. Luckily, those little spots, they're grains of or some of them anyway, will be grains of sand or the silica or whatever it is that they use in the blasting system. He's been very good, and there's actually very little. I can't see any sort of grains. Of course, we've not done the insides of the cases, but there will be grains of blasting medium hidden here and there, especially in like the oil ways and that. So we're going to give everything a really good clean out, because the oil ways, of course, they've still got a little bit of oil in, and that means the grains will stick. They'll love sitting in there and sticking. So these have all got to be cleaned out and washed out with water. Just one thing, I once did put my cases in the dishwasher when they came back from blasting, but I put in a wash tablet, and something about putting the wash tablet in, I don't know what it is. Is it ammonia or something in the wash tablet? Anyway, whatever it was, it turned the casing black, absolutely bright, really dark grey. And so bad was it, I couldn't get it off. I had to take it back to the blast cleaners and have it blasted again, because so just be careful. Just use water if you can. And if you do use a dishwasher, I would say certainly don't put soap in. I don't risk it anymore at all. Right. Oh yeah. And so then it doesn't do the mating surfaces, because it doesn't want to damage them or whatever. So I'm just going to have to clean these up, to make sure that all the old gasket is off. Okay, so that was very good that he's done that, because you can damage the mating surfaces by blast cleaning, make them quite rough, and therefore they won't seal as well. So he's deliberately avoided doing those. So there we are. I'm very pleased with the way those have come up. That's vapour blasting or aqua blasting. Oh, and I'll just add that, we weren't sure to begin with. We thought maybe we wouldn't have the cases blasted. We just polish the outer cases. But I've realised when the outer cases came back, they're so sort of chrome-like that it would have looked, it wouldn't have looked right with beautifully polished outer cases and then very sort of manky crankcases and that they're bolted to. It would have been a mismatch. It wouldn't have sat right. So that's why we've gone ahead and there's only 4 cases to clean, but I'm glad we did, because otherwise it would have looked incongruous with these brightly polished outer cases and then into dull and dirty crankcases, etc.